Okay, let's just get right into it. What if you could actually crave studying? I mean, seriously crave it, the way you crave another episode of that show you're binging, or just one more scroll through your feed. Sounds totally impossible, right? I thought so too. But here's the secret. You don't have to fight your brain. You can actually reprogram it. We're going to look at how to use a little bit of science to rewire your brain, turning studying from this thing you dread into something you actually, believe it or not, look forward to. So, why is it so easy to lose hours just mindlessly scrolling, but the thought of opening a textbook feels like you're about to climb Mount Everest? Look, it's not because you're lazy or undisciplined, I promise. Your brain is just playing a completely different game, a game that's all about instant rewards. The real question is, what if we could learn the rules of that game and then rig it in our favor? And the secret to all of this comes down to one little chemical: dopamine. It's basically the brain's reward system. Right now, things like social media are absolutely winning the battle for its attention. But here's the thing, we're not going to declare war on our own brains. No. We're going to get smarter. We're going to become hackers. We're going to learn to trick the system so our brains start craving learning just as much as they crave that next little ping from a notification. So here's our game plan for this brain hack. It's a 4-part strategy. First, we got to understand the dopamine game. Then we'll master the sneaky art of just getting started. After that, we're going to build a whole new identity. And finally, we'll make sure this whole thing actually sticks. All right, let's jump into section 1, understanding the dopamine game. Seriously, think of your brain's reward system just like a casino game. And to win, you have to know the rules. The biggest rule, the house always wants a quick, easy payout. So what exactly is dopamine? Well, you can think of it as the brain's little good job chemical. It's that pat on the back you get when your brain thinks you've done something beneficial. The problem is, our brains evolved for a world that doesn't exist anymore. Today, they're basically just little junkies, constantly chasing the next quick, easy hit from social media notifications, sugary snacks, you name it. And this right here is the heart of the problem. Social media? That gives you an immediate, super high dopamine reward. You get a new like, you see a funny video, bam, instant gratification. But studying? The reward for that, a good grade, a new skill, that's weeks, maybe even months away. It's a delayed, low dopamine kind of thing. So of course your brain prefers scrolling. It's like offering a little kid one marshmallow right now or a whole bag of them in an hour. We are all hardwired to take that single marshmallow. So how do we fight back? How do we fix this? Well, we make studying feel more like social media, and our strategy has 3 parts. First, we're going to link pleasure directly to studying. Then we'll use micro-rewards to keep our brain hooked, and finally, we're going to turn the whole thing into a game it actually wants to play. Okay, let's start with a technique I like to call dopamine theft. It's exactly what it sounds like. You're literally going to steal the pleasure from other things you enjoy and attach it to studying. So, pick something you love, that special playlist, your favorite fancy coffee, that one snack you can't get enough of. Here's the new rule. You are only allowed to have that thing when you are studying. That's it. Over time, your brain will build this powerful association, and pretty soon, just the thought of opening your textbook is going to trigger that same good feeling. Next up, we're going to gamify it. Turn studying into a video game. Seriously, our brains love to level up and get high scores. So start giving yourself points. Maybe 10 points for every 25-minute study block, 50 points for finishing a chapter. You can even get a calendar and start a study streak, and your only goal is to not break the chain. Or, hey, set a timer and race against the clock. That little bit of pressure, that's a pure dopamine trigger right there. All right, on to section 2. And this is about tackling what might be the biggest battle of them all. Just starting. To beat procrastination, we're going to need some psychological jujitsu to basically trick our brains into getting into motion. First rule, never, ever tell yourself, okay, I have to study for 3 hours now. That thought is it's overwhelming. Your brain hits the emergency brake. Instead, you have to make a tiny, ridiculous deal with yourself. Just say, I'm only going to read 1 page, or even I'll just write 1 single sentence. It's so small that your brain can't really object, right? It feels totally non-threatening. But here's the magic. Once you start, inertia is a powerful thing, and suddenly continuing is 1,000 times easier. Okay, here's another super sneaky trick. You know that feeling when you're watching a show and it ends on a massive cliffhanger, and you just have to know what happens next? Well, you can do that with your studies. When your timer goes off, don't finish the chapter.
Stop right in the middle of an interesting problem or a really exciting paragraph. It's called the Zeigarnik effect. Our brains absolutely hate unfinished business, these open loops. That little bit of unresolved tension creates this pull, this urge to come back and finish it. It turns your next study session from a chore into scratching an itch you can't ignore.
All right, for this next trick, you're going to need exactly this much time, 30 minutes. And what are we going to do with it? A complete hard reset for your brain. Listen, if studying feels boring, the problem probably isn't the subject itself. It's that your brain is just fried. It's completely overstimulated. The solution is something called a dopamine detox. Before you plan to study, for 30 minutes, you're going to sit in a room and do nothing. I mean it. No phone, no music, zero distractions. You will get so incredibly bored that, I kid you not, the idea of reading your text about will start to sound amazing. You're literally resetting your brain's baseline for what it considers interesting. Okay, so we've hacked the reward system, we've tricked ourselves into getting started. Now we get to what might be the single most powerful step in this entire process: changing who you fundamentally believe you are. Now, this is going to sound small, but I promise you, it is everything. You have to stop saying, "Oh, I have to study." That phrase is loaded with resistance. Instead, you're going to start telling yourself, "I am a person who loves to learn," or just, "I am a scholar." You see, identity drives habits. Think about it. People who go to the gym all the time don't do it because they have to. They do it because they see themselves as athletes. It's the exact same principle. And guess what? You can totally brainwash yourself into this new identity. I'm serious. Change your phone's wallpaper to something academic. Start telling your friends, "You know what? I'm actually kind of getting into this stuff," even if it feels like you're lying at first. Start watching more educational content. And here's the ultimate hack: become the teacher. Explain what you just learned to someone, a friend, your mom, heck, even the wall. When you teach something, it forces your brain to engage on a whole different level and solidifies that identity of someone who really gets it. Okay, we're at our final section. We've laid all this groundwork with tricks and hacks, but to make this habit stick for life, we need something deeper. We need something more powerful than points on a board. We need to connect with our purpose. So I want you to really ask yourself this question and be brutally honest with yourself. Forget the grades for a second, forget the degree. Why does this subject actually matter to you? What is the big, real-world goal that this knowledge is going to help you achieve? Because here is the ultimate truth about motivation. Your brain will happily, gladly commit to a super difficult task, but only if it understands the fundamental why behind it. If studying is just about passing some test, you're going to burn out. It's inevitable. But if every chapter, every page is a clear step toward a goal that will change your life, motivation pretty much becomes automatic. So I want you to make this a ritual. Before every single study session, just take 30 seconds. That's it. Connect what you're about to learn with your biggest goal. So if you're a med student, you remind yourself, this chapter right here could one day help me save someone's life. Learning a language? Picture yourself on that dream trip, ordering food fluently. And you know what? Get a notebook and call it My Why. Write it down. Make that purpose real, tangible, and powerful. So there you have it. That's the 8-step formula. Steal dopamine by linking pleasure to your work. Use micro rewards and turn it all into a game. Start ridiculously small. Detox your brain with a little boredom. Build that new identity of a learner, and then become the teacher. And most importantly, always anchor everything to your why. And just remember, real, lasting change doesn't come from brute force. It doesn't come from just making yourself sit down and read. It comes from using the right methods, fueled by a real desire for something more. Every single equation you solve, every page you read, that is a direct investment in the future you're building for yourself. And that's a step no one can ever take away from you. So the change really does start right now, with one small decision. Look back at these steps, think about what you struggle with the most, and just pick one. Which of these are you going to try first, like today?